Lab number 227. In this lab we continue development of our Hello Paris app, and right now it's time to prepare our text translations. So we need some kind of windows or text fields where we will have actually English text and then translated French text, and some kind of a button to repeat the voice translation. So if you click on the button, you will hear the same pronunciation as you will hear initially when just saying your query for the first time. So let's start by creating a list. We will, as always, take it from Ionic documentation. So let's go there. We don't need anything extra. It will be just a simple list with a divider and one item. So divider will be actually after items. So here we will have inside the item our text. So let's assume it will be English text. And here inside divider we will have actually just word English to explain that this text is actually written in English. Nothing really special about this, so we need to add some kind of classes here, not a lot, but just a few. So let's add additional div with class something like positive to make this sign in blue color, like that. What else? Well, actually, we will need to create the same list for French text. So we will need to copy and paste it again and do the same for French text. Like this. So next step for us is to add some kind of button here. Let's use the default styles for that. Maybe we'll need to change them a bit, but it should work fine. Like it's an icon left, and then basically the icon itself. We can look for it in Ionic icons. So we need some kind of speaker like this. It should be totally okay. So I will use span for this with default class node. And inside just will play this icon again with default classes, icon and then the name of the icon. Maybe let's add that it will be positive. Just like that. Yep, so we have our texts, we have our icon, which is also here, but I was missing the closing bracket here in both places. Yep, and let's do some kind of padding from left side to our text, English text, to make it in line with the French text. Something like this, and I will change the CSS for that. So we can use something like padding left. Around 35 pixels should be okay. No, let's try 38. Yep, now it's okay. So we have now maybe even 37. Yep. So we now have our padding. So we have English, French. Of course, those two shouldn't be shown right at the beginning because it's not needed. And actually, the class should be position should be absolute for them also. So we'll add that, and we will need one more box to actually show the history of our queries. And let's start with adding that one. So idea will be totally the same. Actually, I will copy the first list and just duplicate it. We'll have a divider first that will say that this is the history. Like this. We can even place some kind of icon here. This should be also cool. So I will copy this part and place it instead of this divider. So it will be history, and icon itself should be something like looking like history. Okay, there is nothing specific, so let's use something more or less default like this one. So this is our history, but instead of our English text, we should have actually something repeating. So we'll have here our item. Let's display from beginning only English version, then we'll see. Maybe we'll need also French translation, right, to show right away in history. So item English, and this will be actual repeatable collection. So we'll use for that ng repeats, and we will be repeating item in items. So we'll have a list of items that we will grab from database, and we will repeat them in this list. Yep, so history is here. Actually, we don't need so much clothing spans. It looks some kind of bug of Visual Studio. Anyway. Okay, so now we actually need to try to kind of make this a bit active. So the history, the same as the languages and translation, should be shown only if we have the translation actually. So we'll need to add ng show here the same way as we did it before. So I will add another div here, something like history main, and we will have two conditions. So first one will be ng show, and we will be checking for something like show history. That will actually become true if we'll be able to get something from database. And the second condition is ng if. So we'll do the following: if show intro will be equal to false, then actually we'll be able to start showing this. Otherwise we cannot show even if we have something in database. So our list is complete, so we don't see our history, so this is working. Good. So next thing is languages. So let's create some kind of div, something like languages. And the condition will be if translated variable equal to true, then we will do actually showcase these languages, otherwise we won't. So as you see, there are several options to add this condition. So we can use some kind of this form, we can just use ng-show with a variable, and it will automatically try to check true or false. So ng-show and ng-if is a bit looking the same, but there is a difference, so we won't cover this. This is not like best practice session, so we are just playing around. So for now we will use ng-if for this, and I will close our div after the French language, just like this. Yep. Next step for us is actually to create the same style. So we need a position absolute for our languages, and we need the same for our history. So let's go back to our CSS and add two classes for languages and for actually our history main. Just like this. So we'll need some kind of default margin to be able to put a distance from the left and right side. So we'll use something like margin left 10%. It should be more than enough for us. Then we will use actually the width attribute to specify that it will be equal to 80. So we'll have actually a margin from right and left equal to 10%. And then we also need to specify margin top to have a margin from top side, and I think 20 should be enough. So margin top 20%, and of course position itself. Position absolute, and we should be able to see this. But just firstly, let's do almost the same with history. So I'll copy and paste the same things here. So we'll have actually with history the same margin left, but margin top should be something like 90%. Then we will need to specify the heights also, because otherwise it will be just unlimited history, and this probably shouldn't be the best option. But well, we can try and then see what happens if we have pretty simple heights or no heights at all. So let's try without it first. So this is our CSS. Let's check how it looks. Yep, nothing is showing because we didn't add the JavaScript part. So let's work on that. So as you remember, we added two checks. So first of all, the languages will be shown only if the variable translated set to true, and then the history will be shown only if show intro equal to false and show history equal to true. So let's check it and change in controller. So I will set show history to true, the same as translated. and this should work. Yep, so as you can see, we now have our two languages, and then the history, which is unfortunately empty for now, but show history is equal to true, and we have, actually it's on the screen and it's looking quite okay, let's say like this. Let's also try to add some kind of items. So English should be actually equal to something like test, for example, and then I'll just copy paste the same. Yep, so we have our history. This is how it will be looking like. It is, let's say, pretty okay. So this looks okay, but the only thing we should limit it probably to positions, because if we will have more, it won't be really pretty. So when we will be getting data from a database, we will display only the latest two. So next step for us actually to specify the action. We'll start with what will happen when we click on the on this icon under French text or at the item itself. So what we will do, we will actually launch some kind of function, we will call it, and inside we will use Google API to perform the query and receive the audio file, and we will play it with the translation in French language. So in order to do that, I will add on gclick inside our div class, so inside our divider, we'll have action here and gclick that will be equal to something like play French, or let's just name universally play sound. And inside, as the input parameter, we will actually pass the French text. So we'll have here French text. So this is how it will look. Then inside controller, we'll need to define this function. So of course, it will be in the same controller. So we have only one scope, play sound, and this will be our function. As input parameter, we will have text. And let's for now just add some kind of command like play text, and just like this. So this is first action for us. So the second thing that we'll actually do is we'll specify the action that we will be doing when we are clicking on history. So when we're clicking on test or test2, actually what should happen, we should put this inside English text, and then we should actually launch the translation of this text, and then we should play the sound. So quite complex. So first of all, let's do actually assigning. So we'll have the universal function here, something like text to text. So here inside we also will have text as input parameter. This will be English text that somebody passed to us, And what we will do inside, first of all, we'll do some kind of login, so the same thing. And we'll pass it here. So translate text. The second thing that we will do will actually take this text through some kind of translation engine and then put it to our French text field. So for now it will be just equal to text. Of course, we will do the following. We will do scope apply to update our view actually with those changes, because we will be calling the service and it can be actually delayed and everything, so we'll need to apply the changes. So for now it will only do the following. When we click in on text to text, it will actually take the English text, and we need to pass the English text, and it will do the translation later on. So there should be some code to call the backend adapter based on kind of our language. We will call API to translate text to text from English to French. For that we will use MobileFirst Platform adapter. But right now this is just a hard-coded example, so we are just putting the same thing as we had in English text to French text. And we will also need to play the sound. So at the end we will do the following. We will call our play sound function with scope French text as input parameter. Something like this. We'll also have one more universal function that will be called scope take from history. Let it be something like this. So inside what we will do, we will actually grab the item from history and assign this item to English text, and then call our text-to-text function. So something like this, and then we will set scope English text to this text. And then basically we will call, as I said, scope text to text translation with with text as an input parameter. Pretty simple. And last step for all this to happen, we actually need to initialize this process from our main HTML files. So when we will be clicking inside the history on one of the items, we will do the action. So we will with ng click call take from history function with item English as the input parameter. So pretty simple. So what else do we need? Actually, we need an action when this everything will be just starting. I mean, when we click on the mic, somebody should record the sound, and somebody should call those actual functions. So we'll need to write this part. Let's go back to our controller. So we will create a few more universal functions. So one of them should be something like scope check history. So this will be actually checking our database for available history for us. We won't need any parameters for now, we just need some kind of login here. like checking history. And then we'll create this scope of items here inside check history function. It will be more logical. Of course, now it's hard-coded, but then we will do it dynamically after checking actually the history. So here we need to call this function. Like this. And of course, show history should be set to true the same way in this function. So what else do we need? We need to grab the sound. So we need actually to call one more universal function that needs to be created. Something like record sound. Like this, and let's do the following. Let's actually assign the English text to the value of our record sound function. So it will be English text equal to this, and here we will have simple logging, like recording sound, and then we'll have return, and for now just try to hard code something like hello. Yeah, something like this. Or maybe even better to just call this function and then assign the value of English text inside, because most probably we'll need to do a callback, some kind of callback when the sound is recorded, and if anything goes wrong we also need a callback. And not to do a promise, let's do it right here, it will be easier. So something like scope English text for now will be equal to hello, and next thing we will do, we will actually call our scope text to text function with this scope English text as the input parameter. Like this. So let's check what's happening. Yep. So we have hello, hello. Let's check our log. Okay. So if we're clicking on French, play text hello, and play text 2. Okay, and if we're clicking on tests, those are changing. Cool, I see that we have an issue with scope applied digest, so we can disable it for now, and then we'll see how to fix it later if we will need it. So let's go back and do that. Okay. Yep, everything is working. Everything is working as expected. So on this step, we finished with our lab 227, and we continue development of our Hello Paris app in next labs. Thank you.